What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of We Everywhere, baby! I am your host, Oh Marvelous, and with me, as always, co-host with the Mo-host, Nadia Moham. Now you won't say hello unless you get the applause, huh? You're so fucking spoiled. She's like, hello, where's my applause at? There you go.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Talk about
What's
feeling
funny
yourself.
is that I wasn't even thinking that, but I just rolled with it.
You literally just stared at me blankly, and I was like, she must be waiting for some
I'm
applause.
just so beat. I'm beat down. I've been out all day, you know, walk through the door and Omar's like, let's go. We got to record the show. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. You know, so pardon my delayed reaction.
Yeah, but Les Poissons.
Do you remember when was it Keenan? Yeah, Keenan was on All That. Did you ever watch All That?
I never watched All That. I'm aware of it. But no, I never watched All That. I'm like 5 years older than you
Oh
are.
my God, true. I loved All That, and he was on All That, and he would have like a French episode. I can't remember what the special was. It was a skit where he would lay in the bathtub in like whatchamacallit, like a slicker, like a rain slicker,
Mm-hmm.
and he would teach people how to speak French. But it was so ignorant because it was just him speaking English, and he'd be like, "Your father is late to the party," like shit like that. And we just thought it was so hilarious. Look at him. Omar just pulled it up. Wow, he looks way younger than what I even remember.
He looks like he's
He
12
looks like
years
a baby.
old. Yeah.
Man, I love that shit. That shit was so funny to me. And that's when Amanda Bynes kind of like, you know, she had her moment.
She was
actually
on All That?
She was on All That, and then she had her own show, the Amanda Bynes show. And she was funny. Poor girl.
And now she is not.
Now she wears synthetic wigs, and no one's seen her in years. Poor girl. We gotta, somebody's gotta save Amanda Bynes next. If we can save Britney, I've been seeing these memes floating around, which are so funny because it says like, Paris is married, Britney is free, and Lindsay Lohan's acting again. They're like, 2007 would be so proud. And so there was another one, was like, somebody's gotta find Amanda Bynes. We gotta save her next.
I was going to ask if she needs help. Like, does she need help?
She might.
But
She might.
Whoa, this
Yeah.
picture is crazy. She's got a big heart tattooed on her face.
I know.
Oh, it's not even
I think
good.
that there was problems with her parents. I think that I don't know the full story, but I want to say she either got emancipated or something happened with her parents. Like they were using her, and like, you know, that's never a good start, you know, in your career when you're so young and you got to break away from your parents because they're using you or whatever.
Wow, that's
you know,
crazy.
poor girl.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Amanda Bynes except for when she shows up on TMZ or whatever. You know what I mean?
She's still showing up on TMZ?
No, I mean like as far as
Yeah,
there
a
was
while
one
ago.
a while ago where she had, I think she like shot her shot at Drake or something on
she
Twitter
did.
once. Yeah, he was like, she was like, "Hey, Drake, come wreck my vagina" or some shit like that.
So direct. Oh God.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like 7 years ago or something.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, like you're literally making me look up Amanda Bynes. Right now.
You're like, where is she? What does
Yeah.
she look like? What's
I
happening?
was like, yeah, what's
Yeah,
going
she
on?
lost it.
This
she
picture
lost
is
it.
crazy.
I know. It's
Nice
sad.
septum piercing though.
Do you
Rock
like
and
those?
roll. No, not. I mean, I don't have a problem with them. I would never do it.
When it comes to women's piercings, facial piercing, actually any piercings,
Mm-hmm.
which piercings do you think are hot versus not?
I think when it comes to face, like
Facial piercing.
Facial piercing, it depends on how many piercings are in your how much jewelry is on your face. Right?
Okay.
That's different.
Okay.
You know, like I don't particularly have an issue with any piercing, whether it's an eyebrow or a nose or even the septum or whatever. But I guess if I had to pick like least favorites, I would say the dimples.
Oh,
like
okay.
when they pierce their dimples. That I'm not like a fan of. Also, the top of the lip, like the middle.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen
that
it.
little
It's like
stud in the middle.
yeah, like in that
And
little
the
indent.
Cupid's bow.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there. It's like,
Okay.
don't put an arrow through your Cupid's bow.
Okay. Those are your least favorite.
Those are probably my least favorite. And then I don't know if it counts as piercing because I know some friends that have it, but I'm not a fan of the rhinestone on the tooth.
Oh, you're not?
Nah.
Interesting. Okay.
Like if it's a different color, like if it's a
But you don't like a diamond on there.
nah.
Why?
Because it just looks like a spit bubble.
As opposed to your silver grill that makes you look like you're missing teeth. Yeah, much better.
What do you mean it makes me look like I'm missing teeth?
If the light hits it right, it looks dark. And then you take pictures, it just looks like you're missing your canines.
Yeah, but at least I can take it out. Like,
Yeah.
just like, okay, this didn't look good in
Yeah.
this photo. What are you going to do? Chisel your tooth out?
Chisel.
Like,
I think
oh,
they eventually just fall off. It's just glued on.
I don't know. The
That's
first time I
interesting.
saw it was somebody in high school.
Oh, okay.
And I know it wasn't a fucking diamond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course not.
She was like a junior
Yeah.
in high school. But not saying she couldn't have been balling. But it literally just looked like she had a spit bubble on her tooth. And we're
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with your tooth?
You just kept looking at it.
Yeah. So I would say those are, my least favorite, but it doesn't.
What about nipple piercings? Fan or not?
I don't mind nipple piercings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's that kind of metallic vibe. You know what I mean?
When you go to suck titty?
Yeah, like it's just kind of like, okay, that's
Cold metal.
That's a new.
Yeah. You're not like, oh, yeah,
Did
cold
you
metal
clean this,
so
or is it gonna
hot.
taste like a penny or a nickel?
Yeah.
Go clean your nipples.
Have you ever seen a clit piercing
Yes.
in person?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Did you know it was there? Or was it a surprise?
I mean, like, did I?
Like, did she tell you?
Like, what was that?
Do you have a metal vagina?
I have one of those security wands, and I just wave every woman that walks into my door. Hold on,
No, really.
what are you smuggling?
Did she tell you and then you saw it, or how?
No, that it was a stripper. It wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't like a girl I hooked up with.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know if that was like a misleading answer, but
Yeah.
yes, I have seen one.
I was like, why don't I know about this? So random that we're just like randomly talking about piercings and stuff like that. But every time I think of a clit piercing,
All the times I'm sitting around thinking about it.
every time it comes to my mind, I think about this one chick that I went to high school with. And it was probably a couple years after high school. I was in college and I went to like a college football party. And it was a lot of people that I had gone to high school with were at this party. And I ran into this girl that I knew. And she was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long, blah, blah, blah. How are you? Whatever. We're shooting the shit, catching up. And they had a bonfire in the backyard. And there was like a guy, maybe 2 or 3 other people sitting around this bonfire. And she was pretty drunk, but she's like, yeah, I totally got my clit pierced. You want to see it? Before I could even say no, thank you.
No, thank you.
She freaking pulls it out in the bonfire, just like pulls it out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there it is. Great. I will forever associate this with you now.
She's like,
Every time I think of you, I will think of your clit piercing.
I like the idea of you about to say, no, thank you. And then there it is.
Yeah, I was like, I really don't need to see this. I can only imagine what it would look like. Like, I'm good. Please keep your clit in your pants. Like, don't bring it out to the party.
An important message from We Everywhere.
It was a lot. I was like, okay, yeah.
Today on a very special episode.
I was just like, wow, did that hurt? I don't remember what she said, but I can't imagine. It's so sensitive. Like, how can that? Oh, God, it makes me squirm.
It generally only goes through the hood. It doesn't go through the actual.
True. It's not even that area. That's true. You'd probably be in excruciating pain if that was the case.
I don't know. I mean, I
can't even imagine the nipple piercing. Like that to me is. Oof.
When I was in college, I did take a girl to get her tongue pierced.
Oh, really?
Like it was like we were hooking up.
That's a brutal one too.
We were hooking up, and she was like, her parents were real strict with her.
Yeah.
Whatever, and I was like, fuck your parents.
Wow.
I was that guy.
Great guy.
And I went.
Parents' dream.
Because I was going to get my labret piercing, like the one that's on the bottom lip.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to go get one. Let's go. What do you want to get? And she was like, the only thing I've ever wanted to do is maybe my tongue. And I was like, well, fuck it. Let's go. So we went.
God, it sounds terrible. The thickness of that needle to go through your tongue. Gnarly. It is. And you can't eat or drink. And you just like salivate and your whole tongue swells up. You can barely talk. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they caught her like immediately.
I
obviously,
mean,
you know what I mean?
They're like, hi, honey. She's like, car. Everything's fine over here. No, I'm not hungry. I don't need anything, sir. Are you okay? Like, come on. That's so gross. I'm not into it. I don't know. I don't care. Like, pierce whatever. But I would never do my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of nipple piercings, I think, but I like the idea of nipple piercings on smaller titties that you don't have to wear a bra on. Like you wear like a white tank top and then you can see like your nipple piercing. Like that's hot.
You want that like Angelina Jolie.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that I understand.
Look at my nipple piercings poking through my shirt.
Exactly. Because then why else are you getting them? Like at least like let me know. But I would never do it. I don't have a desire for it.
You're like, my titties are huge.
You're so stupid.
I can't get those.
Please. No, I'm just not trying to do all that. I'm just not trying to go through unnecessary pain, like I'm just not. Like my nose piercing was a lot more painful than I had anticipated it to be.
Really?
Only because that meat is thick. Your nostril meat it's not thin.
Did they do it with a gun? Because I think the
no,
they did the nose with a needle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I've seen them do it with
and
a
it was
gun.
kind of slow.
That shit seems horrible.
I feel like the gun would be better because it's like boom, it's like real fast, punches right through.
I guess so.
The needle, he was kind of slow with it, and I was just like
some sadistic bastard.
Yeah, I guess.
You're like, this took 10 minutes.
Yeah. He just leaves it halfway. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the restroom. Yeah, I went. Actually, funnily enough, so random, my friend Doug at the time was staying with us. And when I lived in Newport, he was crashing at our house for like a month. And it was like during the week. And I was like, you know what, Doug? I think I'm going to go get my nose pierced. You want to come with me? And he was like, all right. So Doug came with me and he was just like, are you sure you want to do this? He was like kind of trying to talk me out of it too. And I was like, no, I want to do it. It looks cool. I've always wanted it, And man, I was like, he was watching it and he was like, oh, he was like grossed out by it. Cause it really, it was not an easy, smooth,
right?
Piercing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about.
There we go. Piercing through the skin. Yeah, it was not smooth, but then it was fine after that. And I've had it for a long time now. I forget that I even have it. It's just like part of my face now.
Yeah, I mean, I had to get rid of mine because it started wearing down my gum line.
Yeah, see?
Because I used to, you can either wear the ring. When you have the labret piercing, you can wear the ring that'll split your bottom lip.
Right.
Or you can have just the stud. Mm-hmm. And I had one that had like a spike and a little stud. And, you just go through a bunch of different ones or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the back of them.
It was rubbing on your gum.
It was rubbing on my gum and it wore it down.
Dang.
Yeah, like that shit sucks. It's just,
No.
That's not
See, that's
back.
the kind of shit. Yeah. That's the kind of shit that you're just causing your harm to your body. That it's not going to heal properly. Like my nose will always have that hole, but like whatever. It's not damaging anything else. But
yeah,
that's that on that.
Well, yeah. So
wasn't planning on talking about piercings, but here we are.
That was a good 15-minute chunk on piercing. Thanks, Amanda Vines. Okay. Speaking of something that's like a mess.
How sad. Nice transition.
Yeah. Have you heard? And I don't know if this will be news to the people listening, but I think it might be news to you because this happened last weekend. But have you heard of a band called Brass Against?
No.
So Brass Against is, at least from my knowledge.
Wait, I'm the one that told you about this.
About what?
The peeing?
Yeah, but have you seen the video?
No, I haven't.
Okay, then. So, good.
This might be news to you.
But obviously, if you haven't seen the videos, fucking breaking news.
Whatever.
Bring out.
All I know is I'm the one that told you about
All
this.
right, so. Okay, so now that we've, I don't know, given Nadia the points, like whatever. Like,
I just like the truth,
Yeah, no, I feel as long as it makes you look good.
Well, because I just had the realization.
I told you this about the band whose name I don't even
didn't remember
or don't know anything about. But
because I was like, wait, I know this name. Why do I know this name? And then I remembered, wait a minute, it's because I was just telling you, and you're the one who told me about this band.
Okay.
And you're like, yeah, they're known for this.
For the listeners that don't live with Nadia and aren't out here to breaking news from Nadia, for those of you that haven't been told by her, I knew who this band was basically because I've stumbled upon them on YouTube, and they're a cover band, if you will, and they do Rage Against the Machine covers, some other bands or whatever. But they have a big brass section, right? So at this festival called the Rockville Festival I want to say it was in Florida, she
of course
was complaining during her set, or just mentioning it during her set, that she had to piss. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I haven't been able to go, and she couldn't get off stage to do it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she ends up calling a guy who has like a GoPro camera on his head. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you come up here. I'm going to piss all over this guy's face. Okay.
She says all this?
Yeah, she literally says this. So she calls the guy up there, and the guy shows up. He's willing as shit.
So he knows he's going to get pissed.
And look, he's laying on the floor.
Oh,
and
God.
I can't play the video because YouTube keeps flagging me for everything that we post. But I want you to see that she totally pops a squat on this guy. And you're like, okay, she's going to kind of pee on him. But the amount of piss that comes out of this lady.
Oh my God. Ew, 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 ew. Oh my God. That's a lot. How is he okay with this?
He is about it. People are cheering. He even gets up and spits it out. Fucking, and flinging it into the crowd. It was a fucking mess. And he was all about it. Look at this. Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she kicks him off stage, and they play for another, I don't know, 3 minutes or whatever. And she even goes and puts down a towel. It's going to make any fucking difference now that you've already pissed all over this stage, all over this guy's face.
That's disgusting.
So they end up obviously.
What is wrong with people? How? Oh God!
So they put out a statement.
Okay.
That was hey, the band is like, we weren't expecting that to happen.
Right.
Like, she didn't talk to us about it. That's not something that you'll ever see at our show ever again.
Yeah.
Kind of just like
Why
right away.
were people offended?
I mean, it's pretty like crazy. Like, you just pee on somebody's face.
I mean, the only part that I will say is that if he was knew it was going to happen and was willing and like volunteered, then that's a bit different.
In regards to pressing charges or anything, like, it doesn't look like that guy had a bad night. That dude was about it.
No one hang out with that guy. He smells like piss.
That guy's
I hope he went straight home.
Denim vest is ruined.
Fucking disgusting.
But isn't that crazy?
I mean, I've definitely pissed a lot and that hard, so I can understand. But like, to put all that in someone's face, that's nasty.
That's crazy. So they issued an apology, and I'm sure she's out there doing interviews like justifying it or whatever. But it was just the sheer amount was the part that like threw me for a loop, because I've seen like a lot of shit on the internet. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I've seen a lot of shit on the internet.
For those of us that were alive when the internet started, you've seen a lot of shit. It's a horrible place. But
remember Rotten.com?
I remember Rotten.com. Oh my god!
Does it still exist?
I believe it's probably still up there. It probably hasn't been updated, but I'm sure it still exists.
The same
Rotten.com.
Corpse photos.
I was watching all that.
The black and white corpse photos. If you want to see anything graphic and foul, but like really old quality photos. Of like a body electrocuted in a bathtub or shit like that.
You want to
go to Rotten.com.
Yeah, you want to see a mob hit from 1925? Like, there you go. Rotten.com.
But I remember though discovering that and just being blown away by it, because you didn't really get to see shit like that.
I mean, back in the day it was like crazy. You know what I mean? Or there was one that was like,
I showed it to my mom even.
There was a website once that was like celebrity autopsies.
Oh, wow.
And it was all just pictures of celebrity autopsies. But it's all these celebrities that...
Old school ones. Nobody even remembers.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, why do I want to see this?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm sure all that shit still exists on there. There's even worse stuff up there now.
Yeah, I showed my mom Rotten.com, and like... You would think like I would get in trouble. Like, what are you looking at? You're grounded. You're not. But my mom was like, "Whoa, this is cool." She was like, "Let's look at more." We were looking at all kinds of crazy shit on there.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I when I saw that video, I was like, "Oh my god." Nadia's got to see this.
Because I didn't see the video. I had just read an article about it, and we were driving somewhere, and I was like, did you hear about this? And then you were like, oh, I know that band.
Yeah, but I never seen their videos on YouTube. Like anything that's like, oh, Rage Against the Machine. Like, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? That's going to show up in my algorithm.
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
But it's like a cover band. Mm-hmm. So that noise that you're hearing is candy.
Okay.
Not to like, that's a bad segue, but the point is that I started digging through this bag, and I know it was being picked up by the microphone. So
where'd you get these?
Here's another story that I had.
Oh, okay.
Because this was a whole thing. So there was an intern that was working for us, and before she left, she gave I don't know, a bunch of people in the office little like cup holders, personalized cup holders, or like pen holders.
Okay.
Cup holders, like a pen holder. That had your name on it, and she 3D printed it.
Oh,
so it was like really cool. Like,
cute.
I was like, oh, like we didn't even spend that much time together. Like,
yeah, I mean, how thoughtful.
You sit over there. How thoughtful of you. But it had a bunch of candies in it, and all these candies, they were like either Korean or Japanese, or you know what I mean, from like an Asian market. So I don't know what any of the shit is, but I'm eating it and I dig it.
Okay,
right? It's all good. There was one that I ate, and it was the weirdest like candy experience I've had in a long time. But I couldn't read what it was, and she had already left. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, who do I ask?
You're like, I never know.
Yeah. I was like, who do I ask? What is this? You know? Now, this is the part that made me look real shitty, right? So the intern was Korean. I can't read any of these candies, so I assumed that they were maybe Korean.
Okay.
So I take it to the only other Korean like coworker that I have that's sitting next to me, and I'm like, "Hey, this is like a super like." I literally prefaced it with like, "This is like a super inappropriate, probably question, but what the hell did he say?" And she's like, "That's Japanese." So I'm like, "Fuck!"
Sorry.
Like immediately, I'm just like, I knew it was a bad move.
I mean, come on. How would you know?
But I was like, okay. So once I found out they were
It was
Japanese,
a good guess.
I was like, okay, I know people,
Okay.
right, in Japan. So
lucky I know some.
Luckily, I
people
know
in
a
Japan.
news correspondent in Japan, and his lovely, lovely lady, Asako, and I sent her a picture, and they were like, "Oh, that's like soda candy,"
Oh, okay.
which kind of makes sense. So, one of my coworkers, when I told her, I was like, "Yeah, it's like a soda candy." She's like, "Well, I go to, I can't remember what the name of the market, Mitsuwa or something." Like, she's like, "If I see them, I'll get them for you." So I want you to try one of these, okay?
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
So here you go. Now, the reason that I was like, I really like these
It's going to
candies.
be like shocking or something.
No, it's weird because
gonna fizzle in my mouth.
Soda candy, so I'm expecting it to have like a fizz or something like that. But to me, it just feels like it's spiky.
It's delicious.
But the idea is that it's like the like carbonated like a soda, right? But it just
It's like scratching my tongue.
right. It's like the roughest candy that's
Yeah, it's
ever.
weird.
And it's one of those things where I'm like, why do I enjoy this? Because it's actually gonna leave. It's like leaving my mouth raw.
Yeah, but I can't stop rubbing it on my tongue.
Exactly. And I was trying to explain it to
I'm
Dustin.
exfoliating my taste
Yeah,
buds.
literally. He was like, "Well, what is it like?" I was like, "It tastes like I'm eating a tiny ball of needles." And it's so funny because even obviously now, even with this packaging, I can't read it, but it does say soda mix candy. And I finally decided to use the phone in all its amazing power. And yeah, you can Google Lens it and it'll translate it for you. So it'll tell me like, this is a Coca-Cola flavor, this is lemon flavor, whatever. But it's just called soda candy.
I like
And
it.
the thing is that when I grew up, and hopefully anybody that has that's Latino or knows about going to TJ back in the day, my family used to go to Tijuana and pick up like soap and all kinds of like regular shit, like there was no Costco or something. But my uncle used to always go and bring us back candy. He used to bring us back this like kind of caramel candy or like a toffee, I should say, called like Tommies, or we call them Tomis. And then there was this one that was basically like sugar flavored, but in the middle of it, there was like baking soda.
Interesting.
So, as you would like be eating it or whatever, as the ends kind of melted away, the baking soda would come out, and then you'd have a little bit of fizz. It wasn't like an extreme amount.
Just a little bit.
But it was just a little bit. So when I was like, oh, soda candy, that's got to be what it is. But no, right? It's just something completely
I'm trying to look in the ingredients to see if there's anything weird.
Yeah. Oh, really? You can read Japanese all of a sudden?
It's got English.
Oh, I do. It does.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm not going to read
Product of Japan.
that. Oh, shit. You worked that out all by yourself.
Good job. It only says it on the bag. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the red cabbage color emulsifier. Whatever the hell that is.
I don't know. But I had
What
to
about the
reach out.
polyglycerol esters of fatty acids?
All I know is I reached out to Japan to be like, hey, what does this say? Where can I find it? Which was all very obvious answers. You know what I mean? Go to the Japanese market.
Yeah.
It's called soda candy. It's like great. But I wanted you to try it so that you can see that it's like good but painful at the same time. It's weird. If you
like pain,
if you eat like 2 back to back, it's like you've eaten 4 bowls of Captain Crunch. Like the roof of your mouth is just shredded.
That's hilarious.
So it's like, yeah, if you're a masochist and you want your mouth to be raw, have some soda candy from Japan.
That's how I felt about fireballs. Remember fireballs?
Like atomic fireballs?
Yeah, like the little round.
I hated that shit.
You really did? I would have thought you would have liked those.
Nah, I would eat them, sure. Whatever, because sometimes that's what's left in the candy dish or whatever, but I was never a fan of cinnamon flavored things.
Oh.
Like Big Red. Was not a big fan of Big Red. I'll chew it, whatever, but I didn't really like it. Atomic fireballs, anything which led me to like Fireball whiskey. That shit's gross. Like Aftershock. Anything that had like a cinnamon Goldschlager, like just that's not really for me.
But you'll eat a cinnamon bun.
Hell yeah. Shit's amazing. If you had like if you had like a Cinnabon ball, atomic Cinnabon ball, then I'll be like, yeah, give me 4 of those.
Remember the other day when we were at the mall and we tried that cinnamon? We tried at Cinnabon. It was like a chip cookie with a mini Cinnabon inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy.
How goody can you get?
You're like, I'd like your fattest food stuffed in your second fattest food.
And you know what? It was delicious.
Absolutely.
It really was. But it was just pushing it. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's not as ridiculous as this soda candy. But I will say this. I've gone to Japan. And I've had, whenever I go, like, I act like I go all the time and shit, but I've been twice. But the 2 times that I went, I made sure that I would hit their, like, convenience stores or similar to our 7-Elevens and stuff, but they're everywhere and they have everything in it. And I always try, like, different chips, different candies, the gum. Like, I'll just stack my backpack full of shit. So it's always cool when I get to find something, you know what I mean, that's from another country, particularly Japan, which I really have had a good idea. Did I ever tell a story on this podcast of when I got like stranded in Japan with no money?
No. Should we share it now?
Sure. Why, you want me to? Okay, so for listeners of the show who've been listening for a long time, they know that my brother Mark, who's also our engineer and our everything guy. He's our researcher back when he used to be in the house with us while we did these shows.
Remember Couch Cookies,
Remember
guys?
those Couch Cookies? Yeah.
Whoops.
Before all that fell apart. And our lives got busy. But anyway, we went, because he used to work for Delta, so we used to fly for free. So one of the last things we did was we went to Japan kind of like between Christmas and New Year's, a few years back. And we landed around 11:30 p.m. or let's call it 11. By the time we get into downtown Tokyo off of the train, after we've left the airport and everything, it's, let's say 11. We decided that we're going to need money because we don't have any cash. We don't fly anywhere with any cash. It's like, it's easier to get money from the ATMs. The exchange rate's usually better.
I remember this now.
We're like, okay, well, what's the math? And we're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And I was like, shit, it's got to be this to this to this. And somehow we end up doing math as if it was pesos. Because everything over there is like
you damn Mexicans.
Thousands of yen, right? So, and I was like, oh, so if we get like 2,000 yen out, that's probably like $200. I don't know what the fuck we're thinking. But we're like, all right, cool. So we both take out 2,000 yen and we're like, boom. We're going to take Tokyo by storm.
You could use your card. You're talking about you used your card at the ATM?
When we got off of the train, at the train station, there was like an ATM.
Okay.
And this was before all the cards had chips. So we just put it in there and it worked. We got what we thought was $200 or whatever. And we we just hit the street. So we're like, all right, cool. We're celebrating. Let's go get a beer. So we go get a beer, and we're like, yeah, we're in Japan. Let's celebrate. And I buy 2 beers, and the guy goes 1,900 yen. And I was like, what? And he's like, 1,900. And I looked to Mark, and he's like, what? I was like, yo, we're fucking broke. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I think we took out $20. Because I'm like, if 2 beers is, it's gotta be like, we just took out $20. We totally blew it.
$20. We're like, we're balling.
Yeah, and it's like, he's like, well, let's finish our beers and we'll go back to the train station. We're like, all right, cool. Not realizing that the train station closes. So now the train station is closed. We have basically like $20.25, like something ridiculous on us, right? And I'm like, shit. Okay, we couldn't get back in until the next morning at 5 or 6 in the morning. And it's like midnight or 12:30, and we're like, shit, let's just start walking. There's so many convenience stores. One of these ATMs is bound to. So we're walking. We try no less than 5 and nothing. The shit wouldn't read, or it was just not, it wouldn't process.
Dang.
So we start freaking out because we don't have anywhere to stay. We figured we'd land and just fucking bite the bullet and get a small hotel room.
This is why I don't travel the way you travel.
This is the thing that we blew it, because it's not Europe, where there's like a hostel all over, really close everywhere, and be like, fuck it, I'll sleep for the night for $35 or whatever. So we don't know anything. Like, there's no signs indicating us. Like, I love Japan, but it's not necessarily like foreigner friendly.
Yeah.
Like, people seem to really want to mind their own fucking business. They don't want to deal with you, Yeah. So we're just like, fuck, what are we doing? So we're walking. We walk for what I think is like an hour and a half or 2 or something. No luck at all. And finally we see a Hooters. Right? And I was like, it was like, oh,
it was glowing.
Yeah. I was like, what? We're in Japan. There's a Hooters. Let's go to this Hooters. And Mark's like, okay. I was like, because they'll definitely take our cards.
And they were open?
Yeah. I was like, Hooters is definitely going to take like a credit card from America, right? So we're like, all right. So we go in there. We're like, all right, let's have some chicken or whatever. And we're chilling. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We're like, damn. And I spot on a couple tables over by us, and there's nobody there. There's maybe like 3-4 groups. But one of those groups happened to be a contestant from Top Chef. So I go and I introduce myself, much to like Mark making fun of me, like, oh, what's that? Chef Ramsay? And I'm like, no, dude, it's, what I mean? We're having that kind of brotherly argument. It's not fucking Chef Ramsay. And anyway, I recognize the guy, and I'm like, hey, dude, aren't you on Top Chef? And this dude was so gassed that we knew who he was.
Yeah.
And Mark was like faking the bullshit too, like almost to a point where I'm like, dude, you're gonna
you're
blow
too
it.
much.
Yeah, like
you're laying it on thick, bro.
Like, oh man, I love your stuff. Like whatever, great couscous or some bullshit. Like just being just like being a dick. Like, nah, he didn't say that, but it was really cracking me up. So he's like so gassed that he starts asking us questions. So we tell him our whole story of the money and how we don't have anywhere to go and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, well, beer's on me. So he starts buying his beers. I was still smoking cigarettes. He starts giving me cigarettes. He takes care of us. He takes us to the, I guess like the seafood market, but it's like right where everything is getting dumped from the ocean. And it was just all kinds of stuff. It was like every kind of animal that you've ever seen in a nature documentary was in like like ice or in like its own little buckets of water and shit. And we were just like, oh, and there's all these signs like rules, don't take pictures, don't this, don't that. I'd never seen anything like that. He takes us to get some breakfast. By now, it's like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning.
Dang.
So we've already kind of survived just on this guy's generosity. And he paid for our cabs to go to the market. And he paid for our breakfast there. And he paid for our cabs back.
Yeah.
So we were just like,
That's
okay.
so nice.
So by the time we get back to the Hooters, it's like, back to the Hooters, guys. We go back and it's now like 7:30 or 8. And he's like, hey guys, if you guys want to hang out with us again tonight, we're going to go sleep or whatever. He's like, we'll be back here at the Hooters.
Why did he want to keep hanging out at the Hooters?
Mark was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. And he got a cab. And Mark was like, what do you want to do? I was like, not come back to this fucking Hooters ever again. Like, we got other shit to see.
Yeah.
But we survived that whole night just because I recognized
What was his name again?
The guy's name is Stefan.
Oh, yeah. Stefan. Nice one, Stefan.
He did a couple of seasons of Top Chef.
And they didn't like him on Top Chef. Remember,
No,
he bumped heads with a lot of people.
Yeah, he's like super... he was super arrogant.
Just cocky,
Yeah, very cocky. But he was a good chef. But he didn't win, so...
And very generous.
Very generous. He helped me survive in Japan. If I ever see him, I'm going to give that guy a soda mix candy. One of these soda candies. God. Let him know what it's about. Remember me? You saved my life in Japan at the Hooters.
That was really nice of him, though. Like, he totally didn't have to do that. Yeah. Most people would not do that.
I know. It's crazy. I have like some other travel stories from Japan, but just that one really stands out because I was like...
You're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I was like, man, I got my little brother. You know what I mean? He's an adult. He's an adult. We still got to take care of each other. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so did you guys end up going back to the train station and just getting more money? Is that what you did?
No, we just kind of survived on credit cards. Like, we're like, all right, well, whatever, We're like,
wow.
Yeah, and then we
but I thought you said that they weren't accepting your cards.
I know, but I mean, in that one section that we were walking, because I've gone back and mapped it, and I think we just did a lot of like snake kind of walking. You know what I'm saying? Where we went this way, then doubled back, then doubled back. So I thought we walked for miles and shit, but I think we just kind of were walking, trying to hit all the different stores. And yeah, I mean, it worked in like other places. Like, I think we found a bank and just went straight to the bank.
Oh, okay.
And it worked out. But shit, at midnight, 1:00 in the morning, you don't know where the fuck anything
is at.
But
oh, it would have been hot.
It would have been so
hot. Oh, I'd be like, see, this is why I don't do what you want to do. This is why I plan. This is why we book in advance. Because I'm all for spontaneity, but not that. And I'm a female. It's different. I'm not trying to walk these streets with my like rolly luggage. Like, let me just put a target on my back.
To be fair, we weren't walking around. We had like a backpack.
Yeah, you guys were backpacking.
Like, it's not like it didn't really stand out that we were just carrying all our possessions.
Exactly. I don't travel like that.
Oh my goodness. Should we move on to what we were watching this week? Just
sure.
Touch up a little bit on it.
Well, we did mention last week that we were going to talk about how I finally watched Eyes Wide Shut.
Mm-hmm.
And how I thought it was total hot trash. I just had really high hopes for that movie. I had heard good things, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I waited, and and nothing really happened. And it was 2 hours of blue balls. I was just like, is something exciting going to happen? Because we're almost there. Like, it seems like it's about to get really good, and it just never quite makes it there.
And it's 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Jesus. That's even longer than what I remember. That's long. That's real long for not a lot of events.
Well, it's interesting because people do talk about it a lot. People say they like it. Some people say they don't, whatever. I do. I also find it really just like long and drawn out. And it's like, okay, a couple gets into an argument. She says, I almost cheated on you once.
Right.
And then he loses his mind. Like, this guy loses his fucking mind. this guy who's clearly, an attractive doctor, right?
Successful.
With successful friends who at the party earlier were like banging some girl that he had to save. You know what I mean? Because she OD'd or whatever.
Right.
So this guy's no stranger to,
to that
flirting
life.
and this kind of shit. But all of a sudden, because she might have hooked up with some soldier once, he goes insane and now has to be part of like a crazy sex club if he can.
And it wasn't even her admission to that wasn't even like there was an encounter. There wasn't even an encounter. She was just like, yeah, one time there was this military guy in the lobby and I just looked at him and I just thought about it. Like, that's it. They didn't even speak. There was no interaction. There was no possibility that it was even going to happen. It's not even like there was, you know what I mean? It was just like the thought that crossed her mind that was enough for him to literally unravel and spiral out of control. Like, get it together, man.
And then it's because he goes and he's like, I gotta go. Somehow he ends up going out to visit somebody who died.
Right.
And then from there, he decides to get a hooker.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't decide to get a hooker. The hooker, like, comes up to him while he's walking and,
And
presents
then he
herself.
Makes the decision to go with her.
And then he makes the decision to go with her.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So he's like,
but then nothing happens.
Might as well get this hooker because my wife maybe almost cheated on me.
She thought about it one time.
It's not even that she did or not. It's that she thought about it. So I this hooker will make
time
you feel
for
better.
me. Yeah, time for me to hook up with hookers.
And then, right. So then he leaves and then he talks to that piano guy and he's like, yo, I know I work at a sex club. Like, a super secret sex club. Why the fuck are you talking about it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay. And then as stuff starts getting worse, every possible reason for him to let this shit go, he won't. It's just, but like you said, nothing happens.
Nothing actually happens.
At least not in the way that, you wanted it to, or me. Some people were like, oh, it's amazing. It's like but it's like, this all happens in one night.
Yeah.
It's like a really night long.
The longest night of his life. Ugh. Yeah, I just I was hoping for more. And, and even for Kubrick, I feel like it just was missing something. He's got a very artistic approach to how he directs his films. The imagery that is captured and it's not that it wasn't there at all. It just wasn't one of his stronger ones, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As far as that artistic eye.
And it took forever to film.
Really?
It took him like 400 days to film that movie. Okay. I
don't understand. Time. I really don't understand how. Or why? I just don't.
Yeah. So I decided, well, look, we should watch another Kubrick film, something that's completely opposite, something that's like a lot is going on. It's crazy.
Right.
And we watched Clockwork Orange.
Which I had not seen either.
What are your reactions on Clockwork Orange?
I honestly don't even know how to gather my thoughts on it because it was so much. You're almost like overstimulated by it all because there's a lot of intense imagery that happens that you're kind of like, ooh, this is kind of uncomfortable to watch. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of derogatory scenes that, like, I'm not somebody who, can, like, who gets offended easily. But, a rape scene is a rape scene. That's still aggressive to watch. It's still, you're uncomfortable watching it, So there was a lot of that. There were parts where I was like confused. I'm like, what is actually happening here? I was intrigued. I just like had a large array of emotions during the whole film, honestly.
Right. And
I couldn't tell you I loved it or that I hated it. It was just like, wow, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, Clockwork Orange is a movie made in like 1971 or something like that by Stanley Kubrick. But it takes place in like a near future England. So it's like a dystopian kind of deal. So it's in the future, but the near future, you know how that works out. And it's essentially the story of Alex, played by Malcolm McDowell, who is the head of a gang. It's this gang of 4 guys. And they basically go and do whatever the hell they want. They go and they get drunk and they go and beat up, homeless people on the street, old homeless people. They do break-ins. They fight other gangs.
Full violence.
And then, the ultra violence.
Yeah.
That's what he calls it, right? And eventually they go too far. He gets caught and while he's in prison, he signs up for a new psychological treatment that's supposed to cure you of violent tendencies in like 2 weeks. So he's like, well, instead of staying in jail for however many years they gave him, 14 or something, whatever it was.
And he's supposed to be really young.
He's supposed to be a teenager.
Like 16 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, 16. And then they do all this. They do this like psychological,
like
brainwashing kind of a thing, like what would be like aversion therapy, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes out, quote unquote, cured, and it's just kind of like the movie is. It's like a commentary on psychiatry, on juvenile delinquency, on gangs, on like social, political, economic things in Britain. But it is jarring. There are some very violent scenes. There are some very hypersexual scenes. And then there's like this underscore of classical music through it all. Because Alex, although he is a hoodlum and all that, he's extremely interested in classical music, particularly Beethoven. So whenever they're doing something ultra violent, there's always this kind of classical thing. Or in one of the scenes, it's like Singing in the Rain is the song that's going on. Kind of like a Tarantino kind of vibe where it's like, yo, this guy's cutting his ear off, but there's like a really hip fucking song
the
playing.
Juxtaposition of the sweet music versus the violent scene.
But I thought that you would, like I said, I didn't expect you to be like, wow, this is one of the greatest movies ever, but I really think that as far as like a film that's visually arresting, like it does have some incredible sound, and it does leave you with a very uncomfortable kind of vibe. Like, did I like this? Was it okay that I liked this?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Should I have enjoyed that part? Like, and it's there's a lot of sexual imagery. Like, people have, I'm sure, seen not only the main character's outfit, which is the the big eyelash, or it's like eyelashes, right? On one eye with the bowler hat, the all white. So you've seen it at any at Halloween party or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. It's a famous image in the cover of the movie. I mean, I love the way his house looked. I love the way his mom looked.
Oh, yeah.
Like the choices that they did in set design and wardrobe and all that. I really enjoyed that because it was very off the wall and interesting. Like the house that they went in and they didn't rob him, but they went and
the one with the artist?
The first house, the writer. He was a writer,
yeah.
His house was really interesting. It was just very
had that
unique.
Crazy layout that had like 3 landings inside of the living room. It's like
it was just very unique, odd, and interesting setups and scenery. So you're just kind of like stimulated the whole time, whether it's what they're saying, what they're doing, what you're looking at. It's all very interesting, which I enjoyed about the film. And I liked the karma that happened in the film too. I thought there was a huge theme of karma, and they were clever about how they went about it too. So I did like that too. I thought that was interesting.
Nice. So there you go.
I mean, it's an old movie. I'm super late to the game.
Yeah, no. And you know what?
But maybe there's people who are listening who haven't seen it. So
yeah, I think it's definitely worth a spin. You know, I know it's hard, particularly now with how far cinema has come. But, you know, watching particularly, let's say, a movie in black and white, or a movie where the effects are not what they are now, or, you know, you get that kind
this
of grainy,
still holds up.
That kind of grainy.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to want to even watch that anymore.
Right.
But there are a lot of films, you know, that I think are obviously worthwhile. I mean, it's not like a hot take. I'm not like blowing the lid off of it. People are like, what? Old films are good? Well, thanks, Omar. Like, it's not like that.
No, but it still holds up in the sense that it's still interesting and there's inspiring things to pull from it visually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our little Kubrick adventure that we undertook the other day.
That's right.
And yeah, we can cross those off my list, because back when we first started this podcast, we were talking about how there were so many films that I had missed out on, whether they were probably 80s to 90s films, a good chunk of those popular films that I didn't see, mostly that were rated R. Especially
anything that had boobs in it.
Yeah, anything that had boobs. I mean,
allowed.
Are you kidding me? My parents, I was in 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember when Titanic came out. And Titanic, when it came out, was such a phenomenon. Like, people lost their minds over this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Nas and her friend Nikki, they went and saw it 12 times in the theater.
Yeah.
And that movie's long as shit.
I had a friend who saw it a fuck ton of times.
Yeah. And so I remember I wanted to see it so bad because everyone was talking about it. It was such a big deal. You know, Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. I was a freaking junior high kid. I was like, oh my God, he's so hot. You know,
he was in my Tiger Beat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like when Leo was in his prime days.
You were just mad because they didn't cast Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Why isn't JTT in this boat?
Imagine what horrible casting. Yeah, so my parents would not let me see it because there was a nude scene. And the nude scene was of a woman. I'm like, it's not like it's a full-blown sex scene. It's titties. I have titties. Like, what is the big deal? You know? And so finally,
I can just see you like pointing at them to your dad. Look at these, Dad. I mean, not look at them, but look at them.
These offend you?
You don't like these tits.
But yeah, so finally I begged. Finally, my mom was like, okay, your dad and I agreed. You can go see it. She took me to the theater to go see it, just me and my mom.
Right.
But the agreement was that I had to close my eyes when the sex scene, which was just basically making out in a car, when that scene came on and when he painted her naked. I was not allowed to watch that. And I felt like such an idiot closing my eyes. I was like, this is the dumbest thing
So you
ever.
missed the steamy hand on the window climax.
I mean, I eventually saw it.
You were like one eye open. What happened? Did he put it in her, Mom?
I hate you. Yeah. No, trust me. Now Titanic is like on my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And I've seen that. So if it's on, we don't have TV anymore, but back when I had TV, if it was on TV, I was watching it. Like, I've seen it so many times.
Well,
I love that movie.
Fucking on demand.
Yeah. I can watch it whenever I want. And I'll get in those moods where I'm like, I haven't seen it in a while. Throw it on. It's just, I just love that movie. And so, yeah, but how did we get to Titanic? Oh, because
of sex scenes.
Yes, because of sex scenes. So I, definitely did not see Clockwork Orange. I don't think my parents have ever seen that. I'd be really shocked if they did. I don't think that's a movie that they would appreciate or understand.
Right.
I don't think that they may have seen Eyes Wide Shut 100% without a doubt. My dad probably hated it. Yeah. He's a strict Persian dad. He's just not down for any of that stuff.
My parents weren't really strict about it. Like, I mean, again, we're boys.
Yeah,
so I
so
don't know
different.
if that was like a double standard growing up in the
Totally
80s.
is.
It was like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh, have you seen Porky's? There's like guys looking through a hole in the bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They were more, my mom particularly was more about me not watching movies that kind of painted religion in a bad light.
Ah.
You know what I mean? Like, as a Catholic.
They were anti-God, anti-Christ, anti-religion.
Yeah, my dad didn't care because my dad was always like, religion's bullshit. But my mom was very much like, you can't watch this, you can't watch that.
Or did she not like satanic stuff?
Definitely didn't like satanic stuff.
Yeah.
That I'll even give her more of a pass. Because it's like, she found my satanic Bible once. Remember I told you I bought a
Yes.
So I bought a satanic
Please
Bible
share
just because
it.
I was very interested. It's like, okay, what is Satanism? Come on, let me see what this is about. And I bought it. I think, I don't know, probably bought it in the back of a magazine, some fucking shit. But it showed up, and I read it. I didn't finish it because she found it and threw it away.
Yeah, she probably had a freak out. She probably burned it.
The cover had like a pentagram on it and shit,
Yeah.
It's like, she was like, nope, this isn't it.
Did she ever talk to you about it?
Hells no. She never copped to, she didn't deny, but she also never,
Yeah, you knew what happened.
confirmed
Yeah.
that she threw away a lot of my shit.
Yeah.
Like, and that's fine, parents, you got to go through your kids' shit sometimes and be like, okay, they shouldn't have a knife, or they, or they shouldn't be praying to Satan, whatever. One or the other.
One or the other.
One or the other. But I know that we ended up watching that documentary on Satanism, like that we talked about once. But yeah, I just remember being so mad because the first page of that Bible, of that book, literally says you're not going to find any incantations in here. You're not going to be able to summon the devil. This is not what this is about.
Right.
But obviously she's not going to. You know what I mean? She just looked at it and was like,
no, wait.
trash.
Yeah, she's like, what is this Antichrist book in my house? Out. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
With that being said, my parents were strict on what I was allowed to watch, and here I am as an adult finally getting around to watching all these films that I did not get to see earlier on. And yeah, those were two of the ones that I never watched. So if you guys have any suggestions of films from the 80s or 90s.
Do you have some hypersexual films that
Hypersexual,
Nadia should be
hyperviolence.
watching?
All the above? Let me know. I'll tell you what I think.
In the meantime, and before we leave, we should talk about the movies that for me hold up, and I am a fan. I don't care. I'm old, but I'm all about it, especially because it's November, and around this November, December time.
Do, 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 do.
You just started in the middle of it. That was...
Can't quite find the melody.
That's right. Nadia's singing Hedwig's theme from Harry Potter. That's right. So, we're not watching too many new things because, like I said, this is the time where I like to go through all the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, he likes to put them on and fall asleep, and then I watch Chamber of Secrets 3 nights in a row. I got that one down.
Well, okay.
With Moaning Myrtle.
So far we've gotten through 2. Okay.
Did you get through last night?
Yeah, I did. I finished it
You
today.
did? Okay.
I finished it today.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like somehow I'm like I can't start the third one until I finish it. Like I fucking don't know them by heart.
Right.
But yeah,
Something bad will happen.
yeah, me in particular. But we're some Potterheads over here on We Everywhere, baby. And
well, Omar 100% is a Potterhead. I always liked and enjoyed Harry Potter, but being with you has made me appreciate it more and love it more and get into it more. So you have turned me into a Potterhead. Show.
Woo. And we've got Nadia sorted.
Team Ravenclaw all day, although
we're both Ravenclaws.
Although Omar likes to throw it in my face and call me a Hufflepuff.
Anytime she does something that I'm like, oh my God, you're such a fucking Hufflepuff. And it gets under her skin so bad.
I'm like, take it back.
Yeah,
I'm not a Huffle.
Shout out to all the Hufflepuffs that are out there. You guys you're not Ravenclaws. Or, even those
Ravenclaws,
little heroes in Gryffindor.
It makes sense. I can see why you would think I'm a Hufflepuff, I get it. But I got an edge to me. I got a little more edge than a regular Huffle. So that's where the Ravenclaw comes in, because the Ravenclaws, they're not dark like the Slytherins. They're not straight-laced like the Gryffindors, or the Hufflepuffs are even more straight-laced. They're like right there. They're cool. They're the cool cats.
Wit beyond measure is man's greatest treasure.
There you go. Okay. Don't deny me.
So we're 2 down. In the next couple episodes, hopefully we'll be, keeping up with it, and then we can end the year with some Deathly Hallows. So, keep tuning in, because we'll have some more Potter talk.
Yes, Potter talk.
Because we'll probably only have that to talk about. So,
yeah, we're running out of content because we've just been living our lives. So you should see these notes, which surprisingly we didn't even really, get through. We have I wrote this one down a long time ago. Why are there so many different types of toilet paper?
This is the bottom of the barrel topic.
I gotta say it. Let's just get it off the list, guys.
The show's gotten bad when we started discussing toilet paper.
Listen, they've probably already turned us off. No one gets to the end.
Made it to this.
So if you get to the end, it's like, when you stay for the Marvel at the end.
This is the post-credit, post-credit talk.
But for real, I want to know, why is there got to be strong? Why is there got to be... No, there's like strong, soft, gentle, like, what else? Just like, how many different kinds?
I mean,
and can I have it all in one? I want strong, soft, and gentle.
Well, isn't there one that touts that it's everything? Isn't that Charmin? Isn't that Charmin's?
No, if you go to Charmin, they have Charmin Soft, Charmin Strong,
and Charmin Ultra Strong.
Yeah, Charmin Ultra Strong. Like, what does that mean? You're just rubbing really hard? Like, what does that mean? Like, your pressure of your hands against your ass is so intense that it it won't break through.
Are you an aggressive wiper? Buy Charmin.
All I know is don't ever buy Scott. Scott is the bottom of the barrel. Scott is what we had to resort to in the pandemic when all the shelves were dry.
Yeah.
Only Scott was left, and you know why.
That shit is neither strong, nor soft, nor gentle. It's the soda candy of toilet paper. That shit will rip your ass to shreds.
Oh my god.
It's like, hey, do you have any sandpaper for me to wipe my ass with? No, just use the Scott. I've been using it to sand the steps.
Yeah, that Scott's is rough. But not only is it rough, it's so thin. I don't know how something thin can be rough at the same time where you like wipe your ass and then your hand is wet.
Oh my God.
It just goes straight through. It makes no sense. You gotta wad up so much of it that you clog your toilet.
See, this is why it's worth sticking around.
I knew eventually we would get to this topic. It must be talked about.
Oh my goodness.
So let us know, guys. What do you guys reach for? Strong, soft, gentle? I want to know.
They'd be like, I use paper mache.
You like it quilted?
Oh, that quilted, that's that extra. That's
Quilted
that extra
Northern.
shit.
You know? What you reaching for? I personally like a good old wet wipe first. Then I finish off with a dry.
I will say, as the son of a plumber, a professional plumber,
Yes.
the wet wipes are bad.
He says the wet wipes are bad.
They're bad.
He is a professional plumber. My whole
They're
thing is
bad.
I'm not discrediting him. I'm going to believe him because this is what he does. And I respect that.
And-
However, why do they write on the damn packaging that they are flushable? That is false advertisement. If they are not true, if they're flushable, but they're fucking up your system, they shouldn't be telling people to flush that shit. And
I mean, they flush.
if they're not flushable, you're just gonna keep shitty towels in your trash can? Like, what's the solution here? The solution here is a bidet. That's the solution.
That's the solution.
That is the solution. We need to get it together and get a bidet. I've been meaning to get one. I keep forgetting.
So maybe we'll get one before next week's show, guys, and then we can review the bidet.
We'll let you know what bidet we
We'll
get.
let you know. We everywhere, baby. Ass wash.
Didn't we already talk about the canister behind the toilet?
Yes, we have. But we
The watering
the watering can. So you're over there trying to water your ass.
That's some old school Persian shit.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, that's gonna be it for us this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for a ridiculous ending to a ridiculous episode. We, of course, really appreciate you guys checking us out. As always, you can find us on our socials. You can find me at OMRVLZ on Instagram. We are at We Everywhere Baby Podcast.
And you can find me at Nadia Moham Official. Don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe. That really helps us out. And share it with your friends and family if you feel like they'd be interested. Spread the word.
Bye. We Everywhere, baby!